Yes, okay. So the participants are joining. Can you hear me, Jess? Welcome again.
Yes, hi, Burak.
Perfect. Okay. So we might spend a few more minutes, to get introduced, get everyone ready. People are joining probably. But yeah, welcome everyone and welcome Jess again and again. So I would love to, briefly start with what we're gonna discuss in this webinar. I felt like a bit YouTuber right now, I wanted to say, yo, welcome to my channel, but we'll try to keep this as engaging, as energetic possible. It's kind of midday in the East Coast, it's kind of morning in the West Coast, so we'll try to basically keep it bit up energy. So we're gonna be your afternoon coffee, hopefully. So, folks, this webinar will be more about like AI. We all love this keyword, right? As well as some trends and predictions, especially for B2B sales. So my name is Burak. I'm one of the co-founders of Spiky. I have Jess Pely with me, one of the co-founders of Loyee.ai. And without further ado, Jess, do you want to start with a brief introduction of Loyee as well as yourself, or you can reverse the order, start yourself and then go into Loyee. Then I'll talk a bit more about Spiky. Then I want to dive in to the agenda and the flow. If that sounds good, we
Yeah,
are all ears.
perfect. Perfect. Oh my God, you definitely have good energy. So I'm calling in right now from Europe. I'm on holidays, so I have to get back to the East Coast pace. Yeah, so I'm Jess.
Love
I'm
it.
the founder of Loyee, and yeah, thanks for having us here today on this webinar. I help basically teams, or Loyee helps go-to-market teams with being super hyper focused on who to go after and why. So we help them research accounts and personas, qualify them so that they have everything they need to kind of go after their prospects in a super structured way and not waste time on like researching, personalizing, but they can really just use themselves and create relationship with their prospects.
This is an absolute, beautiful introduction. The reason is I think our fellow salespeople or whoever in the sales domain, they spend their huge time of, prospecting or understanding the prospect, right? So how do I find the right ICPs? How do I find right target audience for my company? Who should I sell into? So I think there are a lot of questions we want to, talk about these topics. So thanks for the intro. So I want to before I kick off the discussion, I would love to jump into let's say what we do. So it's just gonna be very brief, but at Spiky, it's more like a personalized real-time coaching platform for revenue people. Imagine sales, customer success. So we try to coach you right in the call, right in the moment, not after the fact. But this is for another discussion. So today, again, as I said, I would love to focus a bit more on the trends in AI and especially sales in the business to business or B2B domain. So, I mean, I would love to start. Maybe I'll point this question to you, but a bit, I don't know, a brief introduction to the current landscape of AI and B2B sales. So it might be more on the pre-sales era, but what do you think overall, very generic? Then we'll dive into the more detailed stuff there.
Mm. So I mean, how I view it, it's AI is very powerful. We have SaaS tools that I enabled that are AI first, but at the end of the day, they have all very common goals, right? You want to automate tasks, so all the repetitive task we kind of can get rid of. Tools can provide insights, so give me information that otherwise would take me so much time to analyze, to understand, and also help me make better decisions. So I would say these are the three things that we always should bear in mind when we talk about AI tools or in tools in general. And in the sales, what do you say, in the sales landscape, you can focus on, okay, along the sales funnel, in each step, you can leverage different AI tools. Top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, end of the funnel. So we locate more on the top of the funnel side. You guys are more like on the middle end of funnel side, I would call it. And that's along the sales process, but you also have it across functions, right? Because sales informs so many different functions. It informs customer success, it informs marketing, product, and also engineering, if you want so. So I think, yeah, talking about AI, we have to view the full picture.
Absolutely. No, I think you mentioned different terminologies about, top of the funnel, mid funnel, or like the closure type of stuff. I think if you divide sales into three different buckets, it's more like pre-sales, during sales when you get the first meeting and like starts goes after the closure, as well as like after you close the deal. It's not, I don't think sales ends, right? So you have renewal opportunities there, you have upselling, and you want to also like give like a good success, like your customer success team should be strong so you can serve those customers better. So I think the first chunk you mentioned, the pre-sales and understanding, your customers, selecting your customers. There's a lot of like enrichment opportunities going on, a lot of, I would say, like different angles exist there. But I'm curious, like, can you tell us like a few more maybe specific latest trends that you like in terms of pre-sales automation? Do you have a couple of them in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I can guide you a little bit through what we are using and also the challenges that I'm seeing now with AI tools and also larger customers that we serve. So I'm a big fan of AI tools and I try to learn and grow with many of them because I understand, okay, innovation, the most of the tools don't communicate well with each other yet. So I am okay with having like different tools for different things. So for example, for top of the funnel, I use mainly tools like ours, Loyee, to really find the customers we should be selling to. But I also use Spiky.ai. I use a lot of ChatGPT. And I think there is such a big breadth of tools like closing contracts. We work, for example, with Salesbricks. Obviously, they are also AI enabled. Like anybody can be is an AI enabled now. But I think the challenge is combining it all. And what I see with larger customers and larger sales teams is that they want all from one vendor. And that's a bit tricky, I would say, because AI is so much about quality. And if you just put all together and you have one vendor for all of it, then the quality will not be as satisfying, I would say, as of now.
Yeah, I think you are touching on a sensitive point. The reason that I'm calling this sensitive is a lot of people like say that they care about quality, but their approach is more like, quantity-based approach. They're like, hey, can you do this too? Can you do this as well? So they're always looking for different value propositions from one tool, which is kind of understandable from customer perspective because, hey, I don't want to deal with 15 different tools. But the problem is like if you put your, engineer hat or, technical hat, hey, people create or train different models for certain purposes, for specific purposes, and then a customer comes and asks you everything. So that's a bit challenging. And like you
True.
mentioned, maybe it's not right now, but in the future there might be, tools or platforms which can do a lot of stuff. But I definitely agree in terms of quality perspective. Right now, I don't know. You are the queen of outreach. Let's describe this term for now. But so let's say I'm a new business. I wanna, do an outreach. I wanna understand my customers, etc. So I know you folks are doing a lot in terms of customer segmentation, understanding who I can sell better. So how are you guys operating right now? Like, what is the value that I can get from, for example, Loyee, or like, what is the actual AI component you are leveraging? So let's say I'm not a technical person. What will I get in terms of figuring out my ICPs, understanding my prospective customers? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. I mean, there are also other vendors, so I'm happy to share a little bit the process. But at the end of the day, you as a small company or any scale up, larger company, you have to find your best customers, right?
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, what will convert fastest and where will I get the highest engagement? And we don't know oftentimes. And the problem is because the market is pulling us into a direction, the sales is pulling us into a direction, product into the other direction. So you really have to understand who to go after and why. So you have two options. Either you experiment and you build hypotheses and you test those hypotheses. But in order to test hypotheses, you have to go beyond the traditional, what we call ICP. So I think startups or generally sellers know deep inside who they want to go after. But the problem is they don't have quick access to this information.
You're right.
So, you know, when you close a deal, you kind of know, hey, okay, I need more of this kind, but you don't even know what this kind is. And at the same time, you cannot just type into ChatGPT, hey, yeah, I want a customer that looks like Burak, you know, like it's just not possible. And what teams are left with is like segmenting by industry and size. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes, okay, they know, maybe they use a certain tech stack because we integrate with HubSpot. That's search for customers that use HubSpot, which is like 50% of the companies that use a CRM, right? So you're just left with this huge list, like a long list of prospects that you can go after. And that's the problem. You need to go deeper, right? You have to really understand internal processes, how are their teams structured, what are their goals, and to understand this, you can do a lot. There is a lot of information out there. So I always say, yeah, for public companies, you have financial reports, earnings calls. You have LinkedIn, right? People talk about like their strategic initiatives. You can use that. But what for private companies? Job descriptions. If you have the history of job descriptions, you can honestly really understand quite well how their internal processes are set up and what their goals are. But no one is doing that. And one problem is that the job descriptions that go anyways offline after a time. So what you have to do as a company, so let's use Spiky, for example, right? You need a sales team, you know that they are selling certain products because you work well with them. So now you just want from this long list that you can go after, let's say in the US, you want to narrow it down. So you have to ask questions to your prospects. Either you do it on the call or you do it with a tool like Loyee, where it then kind of shrinks the list. And this is by more that beyond firmographics, like let's say, you know, they need a specific setup, you know that they probably have maybe bad customer reviews, then you want to prioritize them. So you have to put like a list of hypotheses together, and then you have to use a research tool to get kind of give you the prioritized list, and you can use that for your messaging. Your messaging should be based on that research.
I think there's like a lot of nuggets you put out there. It's kind of hard to digest all of them at once, but like couple of points you mentioned, the customer segmentation, because the regular definition of, you know, ICP, which means ideal customer profile, like in the traditional sales, I think maybe 2-3 years back, a lot of people are like, hey, what is the market that this company is in, right? What is the company size, or like geography? So very traditional, maybe 5 to 10 stuff. But you're saying kind of these are not enough because there's more, and there should be more actually. Whether, for example, you mentioned like, hey, there are job descriptions. Are they hiring someone? Are they, you know, like they are putting job posts, but are they actually like growing the headcount, right? So there's a lot, I guess, using AI we can do there. So are you guys doing also like some sort of, I don't know, lead scoring based on, you know, accessing all that data about the prospect and telling, hey, this looks like a good fit for you. So if yes, you know, like how does that work? Like as a startup, can I use it, or what type of inputs you need from me? So I'm just trying to understand that a bit better.
Yeah, that was a big challenge because, you know, when we focus on like account research, persona research, and qualifying, people often don't know what questions to ask to qualify. And that was a big problem that we ran into as a company. Like, yeah, I can tell you, like, why don't you just start using our tool? And they're like, no, we don't know yet, and we have to see, and I don't know how to grasp it. And now that's where like this signal ICP analyzer erased from is that we hook. So think of it like that. If you don't know what to query or ask your leads or how to prioritize, you can give us either your CRM and we look at your closed won opportunities, or you tell us your dream customers, because startups oftentimes don't have a list of customers that they want to go after, or they have a list of customers, but they don't want actually to target them. So we have a list of dream customers, and then we gather all the information on the web of those dream customers, and we put all the texts together, and then we derive clusters based on the textual data. So imagine you have a company. Imagine Spiky is selling to some companies, and your dream customers are XYZ. Now you want more of XYZ, but you don't know what it's common for XYZ. So now we find similar companies to XYZ, and we find the commonalities. And we find, hey, you were selling to a customer XYZ. They have actually aggressive tool spend. So they have a more buy versus build motion. They are themselves selling to enterprise. So they really need a tool that is, I don't know, GDPR compliant or whatsoever. So we find those commonalities, and we base that based on data from the web, financial reports, job description, technographic, like which combos are they using of tools, because then you just find similar companies to the companies you closed. And you can apply those signals and follow the companies that match those signals. So you don't have to have your own ideas who you want to go after, but you can just use this as like a signal ICP analyzer and then start using that.
I see. No, I think this is really helpful because, like you mentioned, there's, I think, different company brackets. Like the startups, generally founders have some sort of gut feeling based on what they sold so far or what they are what they are planning to sell. So they kind of know, hey, this is kind of the persona that I want to go. But most oftentimes, what I hear is, I don't know which companies are similar to these type of companies that I sell. I think the initial thing is just looking into their competitors, but I think it's a bit limited considering what we can do with AI right now, because a company, a potential prospect company, what I'm understanding from your saying is, even though, let's say, I have company X and company Y might not be a direct competitor, but potentially a good opportunity for you. So you guys are helping to figure out these type of, let's say, not just direct opportunities, but indirect or adjacent opportunities in that environment. I think that is definitely opening up a lot of space for even like small startup owners, but at the same time for enterprises, because I know they have like a huge prospecting team. Their SDRs are calling every day, but they are generally given a list. But there's sometimes, I hear this a lot, there's like a magic behind how they come up with these lists, right? Potential prospects. So you guys are basically helping all the sales prospecting processes and making sure they can choose the effective or more quality prospects instead of making it a quantity discussion. Am I right here?
Yeah, so we are big on like focusing on the quality. So I don't know, I just recently posted something on LinkedIn where like an automation bot commented on 2 different posts of mine. And
Oh yeah, I got
posts
that. Yeah.
the posts were completely different. One was that I reposted by my co-founder and sister, like about being an entrepreneur and the journey. And the other one was like from my past, like a book in finance. And it was a bot, and I'm like, okay, what's the purpose of this, right? Like, I don't want to build tools that spam people. So I really want to enable people to engineer the science in sales so that they make time for the art in sales. And I think that's very important because there is so much manual work still and so much limitations as of now, that we really have to engineer that science piece so that, we can sell as humans to humans. And I think that's so much more meaningful. But a big focus on quality. So that's why we don't believe in spray and pray. Here outbounding to many companies and so on. In fact, I don't know if I should even say this here, but actually if I outbound, I use Loyee, and I pre-write my messages with Loyee, but every email that I'm sending out, it's like click, click, click. I have to confirm what goes out. I don't let anything out that I don't
Yeah.
want out there, because I'm the founder of this company. I don't want to burn my leads, and I also don't want to sell a tool that is burning my own leads. So
Absolutely.
I don't know how you are doing outbound. I think you might have a different approach, but
No,
I
pretty
think
much the
quality is very
standard.
important.
Yeah, no, I definitely support the quality approach because I think that's why all these email providers also introduced some filters around the numbers, right? Because
Mm,
people are like going crazy. So I know people are going thousands of emails weekly, like 10Ks, 5Ks. I forgot some numbers out there or the filtering stuff, but like the spam component, like it's crazy right now, and everyone is utilizing different platforms. That's why I think quality approach makes a lot of sense. The component here is, I'm going to ask you one controversial question in the next section when I jump into the future of AI and B2B sales. So I'm going to keep hold of that
mm,
thought for a while. But this brings me a bit more on the challenges component, right? So you also mentioned that you're integrating, like you're running into some challenges while integrating this, because like, what do you think? I think a lot of people are aware of AI with the introduction of ChatGPT, let's say, but what are some biggest hurdles, especially putting
mm,
AI-based solutions into the sales prospecting processes? So what's
mm.
your take on there?
Yeah, good question. So let me think. So I can speak from my own experience, and then I can speak what I see with our customers, because
Mhm.
I'm early stage, and we work with later stage companies
Mhm.
too. So me and myself, I'm an academic, and I already had another startup, and I needed to do a lot of sales. Back then I was a technical co-founder, and I really did not know where to start. Like, I hated it. I hated sales because I got like a big list from somewhere, and now, okay, so what should I, like, 24/7 like email or use some automation? I got crazy. And because of that, a tool like Loyee originated, because I'm like, you know what, I just need like a very effective way that for pre-qualifying the accounts. Rest, I'm very happy to take care of. So what are the limitations there? Obviously, information on the web is not perfect, and that's why I want to verify it and have a look and have control over it. So I always see like Loyee sometimes as like my intern.
Yeah,
It's error prone, so obviously we focus a lot on quality and try to improve every day what we're getting out. But it's an intern, and that brings me to my next point. Being a founder, you work with many interns. People make mistakes, and you're just more apologetic to humans than to an AI. If the AI makes the same mistakes than a human, you're really frustrated with the AI. You might be frustrated with the human too, but you don't show it. And that's like the struggle, that people need to
yeah,
understand quality and what it means working with AI. And oftentimes they don't know it. Like, even if you look, I mean, if you use like GPT models, you have an error rate. With Loyee, we can reduce that error rate. And it's definitely better than a human if a human would need to do it manually, but it's very difficult for us to communicate that to our larger customers. And I think the big hurdle is, first of all, they don't understand um, the impact a tool can have. They don't understand their own objectives, so they are always very confused. And then it's really about like enabling them, trying to help them building the use cases. And they want perfection, and they think AI will solve all their problems. And that's the
absolutely.
problem. You have to start small. You have to start small. You have to train. You have to learn and adapt. And once you understand the little steps, you can do big things. But you cannot start with the big things first, because you will always be disappointed.
Absolutely. No, I'm gonna like chime in there because you are like you're telling right now great stuff. But one key thing is, I think the educational component. We are seeing a lot of, I mentioned like people started to hear or like learn about AI when the ChatGPT boom happened, right? Before I'm imagine I was thinking before ChatGPT and after ChatGPT, it's like, that's Christ era for right now the sales domain. Like the interesting thing is people like with that ChatGPT, let's say revolution, people start to think about, hey, it's gonna solve everything. But the problem is, like, they don't know what it is designed for and what it can do exactly. I'll broadly speak right now and say AI, but so there's a huge misconception. A lot of enterprises right now think, oh, we should integrate AI somewhere. Like, let's do it because otherwise we can't be successful. First of all, this is 100% incorrect. The reason is your business might be still, super successful even with, let's say, non-AI methods. And AI doesn't mean only automation. So there are like a lot of automation you can do. There's a lot you can do. But I think the thing here is the quality component comes into play again. Like, what do you need exactly, right? Um, Otherwise, it's just like if you are trying to get an AI tool for the sake of I just want to have an AI tool, it's not going to help you, and you will not have a clear goal. You will not have any clear objective or KPI, and I think a lot of customers they have this confusion, and you're like
Mm.
touching upon this confusion component because they want to do something but they don't know what to do and they're not educated enough.
Yeah, I always wonder what that is. Because okay, let's rewind here.
Okay.
I think I read a statistic, it's a number, so I'm a researcher, I don't know, that before AI even, 50% of the software purchases were regretted. So now that was pure SaaS, where you can really easily envision how a workflow works. Now add something AI-ish into the game. You don't know what the input and output is oftentimes because it's not anymore in your control. And this is obviously very confusing for people. So I think like the regret increases even of purchasing software that is AI enabled. And this is obviously something we need to fix. And we will fix that, but it takes time. And as you mentioned, like with GPT, there was like a huge influx, and I personally even felt it. Like, I was doing my PhD with a lot of machine learning and AI and textual analytics, NLP before LLMs were cool. And no one wanted such a co-founder, like literally no one. But then after GPT was released, I became like a bit cooler. So that was good for me personally. I don't know how you experienced it, but now still what I notice with our customers, it's not even that they don't understand what AI is, it's that they don't understand what data is, like how to work, like how statistics work. I
I
don't know.
mean, that's a huge
And
gap. No, no, great point. Go ahead.
and with that in place, I think we have to educate not about like what an AI is, because I think everybody understands now how ChatGPT applied works, but what does it mean to work with data, with textual data, and analyzing textual data, and how you research data, provide insights? That's more about statistics, and I think we have to educate more on the statistical side.
I do agree. The educational component is very, very weak still, and I'm seeing enterprises trying to adopt these stuff, but I think they have to educate people as well. And like I think every customer call we're also having is more like an educative session because let's say if I look from our angle a bit, they say, "Hey, I'm using this note-taking app." I'm like, "It's great." But the thing here is like note-taking apps doesn't solve your real problem. Let's say the problem was never note taken, right? People used to take notes, and now you have thousands of transcripts or notes from your meetings, and I'm asking them,
Mm.
are you going back there and like checking what are you doing with them? People are like, oh no, I'm not. And so what are you doing then? They're like, oh, I don't have time to review them. So you see, that wasn't the problem at all. The problem is there. You have data, you're accumulating data right now. You have those sources, but you are not doing anything with this data because
Yeah.
you don't know like how you can process it. You don't know what might be an actual outcome. So every session is more like an education session. And I think in the beginning, a lot of startups like us, we're trying to like challenge the status quo. So you are teaching them statistics, you are teaching them machine learning, you are teaching them in their own language, in their own words, right? That's like a very, very, I think, underestimated work because you're like you have a unique perspective out there, and I definitely agree. People had to, I don't know, it's a progress. I think it's a process. we're gonna
Mm.
like go through this, and we are teaching people, you are creating your own market, etc. So it's fun, but we're hearing a lot of these type of stuff, especially with the AI marketing. People take meetings because they are curious, but I always want to understand. First thing is like, what is the problem? Like, maybe
Mm.
you don't even need us, which is okay. Like, which should be okay for every salesperson. If you don't qualify, in the beginning, or like qualify, like you are asking everything, so you can disqualify or qualify early. Otherwise, it's just waste of time. So we're trying to help people to understand those stuff in every customer call we are having, and it's just resonated what you just said. Whatever you sell right now, um, people just take meetings because they hear AI, but then they don't know what to do, and the churn or the satisfaction is higher because they can't blame a person, but they can blame an AI model or AI software. Like,
Mm.
everyone has own mistakes. We are not saying we are perfect. We're just helping you to do things a bit better. That's what I'm hearing from your
Yeah.
speech. But it's hard to, I think, get into that spot. So
It
it's a
is, and
progress.
it's really about providing value, but sometimes, I mean, it's difficult to identify the pain point. Like, one of my friend always said you have to find an acute pain with a customer. And the problem is finding this acute pain when the customer sometimes maybe even know that they have an acute pain. And I think it's also then the ego of people, right? Like to reflect on, hey, okay, maybe we need to change here. We have to change something. A lot of companies come to us, oh, we need more pipeline, and we have too little pipeline. And I'm like, okay, so that's the outcome. Where's the root cause of the problem? Because
Correct.
what tools do you use? Where do you see gaps? What is really the root cause of the problem? And once we understand that, we can also suggest other tools. I don't need to necessarily suggest someone our tool, but with the influx of, let's say, AI, a lot of new tools are coming to the market. It's so much easier to develop something, right, with AI. So we have now this tool overload, and I think the prospects or the potential buyers, they are very overloaded and they don't know what they want, and that's the problem. Like, a couple of years ago, you needed a CRM system. There were maybe like a couple of vendors. You could take a call with every vendor and understand like different features, and then make a decision. Nowadays, you have just so many tools.
Yeah.
Everything is AI enabled, so you cannot even just compare features, but you really need to understand the use case at such a deep level and really your pain. And that's the difficult part, that there's so much more supply of tools, and then on the other side, a buyer that just wants to consolidate, and then they don't fit the right thing into their needs. I mean, it's tricky nowadays to sell.
Yes, sometimes I'm telling like, hey, we did this to ourselves. We kind of, shoot us on the foot, because there's a lot of tools right now, and people are, I think, 10x more confused compared to past 2 years. Like, as a buyer, like, you are receiving LinkedIn messages, like emails, phone calls, like what else? What else? I'm forgetting about the channels, like gifts. Oh my God, this is crazy. I just wanna buy a CRM. Like, just leave me alone. That's like what I want to do sometimes. And this process is like, I don't know, it's gonna get, I think, crazy. But the thing is, still, how do we maintain this quality approach? Because it's really hard to understand intent, but like you mentioned, there's a lot of sources we can figure out. And I think the true intent lies in different quality data sources and aggregating them for the prospect and saying, hey, 80% of the chance we think this is a good prospect because of XYZ reasons. We can be wrong, but at least you're giving me some reasons. You're giving me like some, reasoning behind it, as well as like some explanation. I mean, I would take that instead of just randomly searching, oh, just give me the North America, I don't know, 500 people size B2B tech or IT companies. So it's much better. But yeah, I don't know. Like, with that being said, I want to like shift gears towards a bit more for like the future of this domain. You mentioned something
Mm.
super interesting. You said that, people hire, people to do some tasks or job, and even though they have a satisfaction or dissatisfaction with them, they don't tell. But whenever they buy a software, they're like, oh, immediately hey, I hated this, or it didn't work like properly in this one. This is the worst software, etc. So, I mean, I know we're like criticizing, let's say, AI or machines more than human beings, which makes sense. But maybe you heard these AI-based SDRs or BDRs who are calling on behalf of you, etc. So those type of trends are popping up. So what do you think? Some future or maybe futuristic ideas regarding AI and sales prospecting. Like, do you have any crazy takes on that? Or if not, it's fine. But just curious,
Uh, I
what do you think is the
honestly
future?
don't have crazy tech. So I know that a lot of people are working on AI SDRs or even like replicating me as a human in a video call, and I don't have to attend the video call, and like virtual Jessie
Yeah,
will just take care of it. I mean, you have to test it, right? If it's something for you, and if everybody has a virtual um, mini me or what it is, then digital me, then why do we need to put people into video calls, right?
yeah. I mean, I
Like,
can go
then just
holiday.
use, yeah, I just use text. Like, why to have so much energy waste? Um, but I think like a lot of things can be automated, and I think that there will be um, AI that replaces humans. But in my view, it's then also the work that humans necessarily don't want to do, because I mean, all SDRs that I know, they use it as like a entry into a job to grow fast, and they're quite happy when they exit that position. So I don't think it's a bad thing automating it. Will the quality be good? Obviously we have to figure that out. I think AI improves tremendously. What I believe in is that there will still be humans on Earth, and us humans need to do something, right? So we want
Yeah.
to have a happy life. We want to have impact on Earth. So what will we be doing? And a great salesperson will stay a great salesperson. They will build relationships and connections with other great, I don't know, potential buyers, prospects, and they will be happy doing that. However, they will have a bunch of tools helping them. Like, why would I need to do manual research? Why would I need to, do all the grind work that usually an intern does? Like, why wouldn't I just delegate it to a tool?
No, I think, yeah, that's a fair point because a lot of people, I'm also seeing some videos, etc. Hey, is being an SDR a dead job right now? Or like a call center assistant. Like, I think human touch is still required certain purposes, but what I'm understanding from your speech is like we can automate a lot of stuff. We just need to learn when and for what purposes, right? Because it's not for everything, for sure, and every domain, I would say. Like people, I don't know, hire wealth advisors because they are looking for talking to a human being, like they are paying thousands of dollars per hour because they are looking for maybe real experience, real expertise out there. But there might be automated agents or AI agents which can solve my problem without I'm talking to someone in 2 minutes. I'm okay to that, right? It's kind of more efficient for everyone. But I think it's very domain specific. Yeah, I'm hearing this type of questions a lot. Um, Domain and like what you do, who you're selling to, the
Mm,
market, even like what your tool does. It's very, very important. Maybe you're selling a trust-based tool, you can't put AI agents there, but if you're selling a very high technological stuff, I don't see any problem having some
mm,
sort of an automation out there. So it's, yeah, very dependent. And maybe like, to wrap it up a bit, I was curious, like, do you think AI should be part of some sort of educational component? Because you mentioned, a lot of people don't know about it, but we have certifications in LinkedIn, or people like go to courses and get, hey, now I know how to use Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. People have these type of certifications. Do you envision, we will
mm.
have certifications for tools like Loyee in the future, like, 3 to 5 years, people become kind of proficient, something like that. I don't know. I'm just curious about that opinion. What we should expect in terms of AI and education in the future.
Wow, coming from the educational base. It's a big question here. You know, I think like this will never change. Like you always have to grow personally. And how do you grow personally? To learn new things. Either you're a type that likes to do that, or you're a type that doesn't like to do it. So to satisfy the human needs of, you know, learning and growth, yeah, there will be always certifications. There will be always schools, universities to teach you. I mean, look at Clay. I feel like Clay is doing an absolutely amazing job with their Clay University. Even Salesforce, you know, they have like all these managed services and they educated other people to sell on their behalf. It shows you like these skills are needed. Otherwise, they would not educate the people. I think, yeah, to put like, I mean, I would love to hear your opinion on this actually, because I think like curious people will always grow with the trends, and it also takes effort to, you know, learn new skills. And it's again like very individual what you want to do and how you want to grow your career and what role you want to play in this world.
Yeah, I think like my personal take is um I don't think anyone will extinct for sure. And what I feel like, you know, I think these tools helping us making like super humans. That's like how I'm looking at it. And like you mentioned,
Mm.
I think it's a mindset problem actually. Some people might scare because maybe they're not super efficient or they're not up to date with the technology. But with all these changes, they are kind of being forced. And as you know, when we go back to the core values of human being, we don't like change, right? So if
Mm.
something is working, I mean, let's don't touch it. So 99% of the time we are kind of against the change. But right now with these all these developments, human beings are kind of forced into the change. I think that's kind of creating some sort of friction. And people are that's why people are kind of scared. I think educational component of AI is going to be big. I think we will have majors, we will have like certifications around it. I think that's a for sure thing for me. The best thing is as human beings, I'm talking like I'm coming from another galaxy or something. Like I'm saying human beings. I don't know, maybe I should just say people. But so I think it's gonna be there. But like you mentioned, how you adapt matters a lot. So we have to learn faster adaptation. We have to improve our skills, utilizing the technology out there because time is the most valuable asset we have. Like if I can do maybe more holiday time, but still same efficiency, it's okay. I like it. You
Yeah,
know?
right, not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna object to it. So that's why I think the automational component will be there. I'm making this analogy a lot. Like there's this robotic process automation, RPAs. Right now there are like jobs like RPA developer. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be kind of similar. You know, there will be maybe model developers. There will be maybe sales prospecting automation developers, and those people gonna work at five jobs. And there will be new jobs coming up to the market. I don't think there's anything to scare. Like I'm not talking about robots will take over type of a scenario, but I think people, to summarize like what we've been discussing here, we need to embrace the change. That's the first thing. Second thing is like adapt as fast as you can, try to learn from your peers, try to upskill yourself. And the third thing is AI is everywhere, literally, right? The best thing I think you can do, connected to the first two bullet points that I have, just learn as fast as you can and try to improve
Yes,
yourself. I don't know. Do you have
honestly.
any
No, it's
summarization or
true.
key points?
No
Go ahead.
risk, no return, right? So you have to be not risk loving, but you should not be risk averse, and you should become an early adopter if you want so, because if you don't bear risk, if you don't take risks, like you will be miserable behind and scared and feared. So I think like what you know, it's important that yeah, you have like a positive mind when it comes to you know, change, but it's tough as you said.
Yeah, I think being I think smart risk taker is super important. Large enterprises are very slow in those stuff, but as startups, we love, you know, early adapters. Those companies or those people are like hey, I mean, this sounds crazy, and what if works? I think if we can put that what if works question into people's mind, and I think everyone should think from the same perspective. Yeah, you gotta be risk averse. It's fine. You can't take every risk. But the thing is, can I change, something in this flow and make it more efficient? I know it's gonna be painful in the beginning, but what if I can save few more hours starting from next week and then up to 40 hours every month? So that's a win-win. So I think that should be the mindset instead of scaring.
Hmm.
So I always say, even though you're gonna fall, try to fall forward. So at least you're gonna learn something. So don't change every framework you have. Let's say you start implementing Loyee today. Maybe you don't need to update whole department, but you can start with like a small group of people to test things out, test the waters, right? So I
Yeah,
think those risks are okay. You should take them. So you should just upskill your people. I don't know. This is like a big, big, big topic. Like a lot of people keep talking about this, but Jesse, that was an
very
honor to
intense. That was a
yeah,
different style of webinar,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love, like getting into the real deal. And you mentioned, I think, a lot of nuggets out there, which I love. That's what I wanted to, follow upon those. I think people are looking for genuine interactions instead of like planned interactions. So that's what I felt we did today. And hopefully, like people, when we share this offline as well, will like it. But we're gonna keep doing this. Like, I really appreciate all the insights, and I really appreciate, your time today.
But
And
may I say one thing?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Please go
Talking
ahead.
about being human, right? And
Yeah,
AI and how to automate. Every time I have a customer call and I see that they're using Spiky, I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. I'm just more positive in that call because they also use Spiky and it really connects. And the call usually goes always differently. And that's something where I realize, I'm so human. Like, I'm not a robot. I really buy from people. I want to sell to people, and maybe I'm old school,
I
but
don't think you're old
actually, I
school.
think
Yeah,
I think that that's really enjoyable. I want to have fun in life, and I want to win, and I want that we all win together and make this world a better place. And AI will help us there,
I no, no,
hopefully.
I love that perspective because I heard this like similar stories before, and it's so funny because every sales conversation they keep saying, "Hey, start with a chit chat," ask about personal hobbies. You see, "Hey, did you go to MIT, Boston University?" They start with some sort of stuff, and then the conversation starter becomes spiky. That's so funny. I like it. Oh, do you use spiky? Like do you do this? It's kind of a I think a bonding point because right now everything became kind of an online. Why wouldn't we have like an online hobbies or online, discussion points? I think this is where I'm going. And I like this being human component tied back into the results. I love it. That was super cool.
Yeah, nice, cool.
Yeah, again. So, oh, we have, I guess, one question written on the chat.
Oh, yeah, I did not follow anything here because I was so focused on you.
Michael, I think you have a question, so let me allow you to talk if you want to ask your question directly.
I was just gonna see if you guys, I totally couldn't get into the webinar. So have you guys recorded this? Am I able to get in?
Yes, yes, yes. I will share the recording after the fact. Sorry about that. We'll check that problem if there's like something
That's probably
associated with
no
it.
problem.
Yeah, hi, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Jessica, how are you?
Good, good. Yeah, we are happy to see some faces here. So thanks for joining, and we make sure that you get the recording. I think you guys will record it.
Yep. That's
Did
gonna
you
be on
guys
me.
have a good turnout?
I think we did. So I'll right now
We are
it
still on
dropped a
air.
bit. Yeah, we're still on air. Yeah.
Oh, good. Great. All right. I won't bug you.
Perfect. Okie dokie. So, what I'm gonna do right now, Jesse, I'm gonna thank you again and try to finalize the webinar. I think so. Let me do this. Is LinkedIn best way for people to reach out to you if they want it? If you wanna say like few last words, how people can reach out to you, etc. I would appreciate
Yes,
that.
absolutely. So if you're a vendor working on AI products, come to me. I'm always happy to test new things. If you want to optimize your top of the funnel, finding the right customers, talk to us as well. Happy to help there. And yeah, other than that, LinkedIn is, I guess, always a good way to connect.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for showing up, people. If you have more questions, we'll share this recording and like distribute it. You can always reach me or Jesse for questions. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you guys in the next webinars. We'll try to do this every month, and we'll take it from there. Have
Cool.
a
Yeah.
great one.
Thank you for having us, Spiky
Thank you,
and
Jesse.
team.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Bye bye.